A woman killed in a crash this morning in Clay County, but somehow her young daughter survived. How troopers say that girl escaped.
An Eastern Kentucky community remembering a couple killed in a weekend accident.
She was a vital part of this community.
The impact the couple left on the small town.
It was in a dive, and it released something.
This year marks 75 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor, but a World War II veteran from Kentucky remembers it like it was yesterday.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. It is a miracle that she survived. Tonight, a 9-year-old girl is in the hospital after the car she was in crashed in Clay County.
State police tell us they found the car this morning upside down in a creek off of South Highway 421, which is in the Big Creek community. The girl's mother died in that crash.
WKYT's Garrett Weimer's live with our top story. Garrett, how were state troopers able to find this young girl?
Well, police say a driver on the Hal Rogers Parkway had pulled over just to see what all was going on while investigators were on the scene of that crash. They say that driver then spotted 9-year-old Miley Murphy over an embankment, and police think she likely had spent the night there. State police say 34-year-old Chastity Murphy was driving along Highway 421 when she lost control of the car, dropped off the road, and went 100 feet down an embankment into the creek where the car overturned. She was pronounced dead at the scene, and police are saying they believe that all that happened sometime yesterday evening. They didn't even know about the crash until Clay County inmates out on work release picking up trash spotted the car upside down in the creek. At that point, they still didn't know Murphy's daughter was with her at the time of the crash until she was spotted by that driver on the parkway. And we're told she talked with police and told them how she was able to get to safety.
Well, we did interview her at the hospital before she was flown to UK. And she was able to tell us that she got out of the vehicle and swam to the bank and walked up the bank to try to get some help, but she couldn't stay awake. And that's what we got from her.
As Trooper Cochran said, that girl has been taken to UK hospital. We do not know how bad her injuries are at this time. Live in Clay County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Garrett, thank you. Amazing that she's alive and she made it. And troopers say they're still trying to figure out what caused that crash.
An Eastern Kentucky community is getting ready to say goodbye to a couple who had a big impact on the area. Leon and Peggy More were killed in a crash Saturday on Kentucky 15 in Breathitt County. Peggy had served as a teacher and longtime coach there. WKYT's Phil Pendleton talked to those close to the couple about how they'll be remembered.
The final buzzer in the game of life has sounded for Peggy More and her husband Leon.
She worked in our system for 18 years as a teacher and coach, and then she also came back and has been a coach here for many years. She's had a tremendous amount of success.
It's only fitting then that the Coliseum, where the couple spent so much of their time, would be the place where the final tribute and goodbyes will be said this week.
There's no doubt that that's where we should do it at, and the community will come together to honor her in the Coliseum on Wednesday. We'll be canceling classes on that day because it's the right thing to do for our community.
The head basketball coach tells me that even though that Peggy More was his assistant, he learned a tremendous amount about the game and how to coach from her.
I learned more so about how to carry myself off the floor than on the floor with her. She's a Hall of Famer in a lot of aspects as a coach and player.
Moore led 3 teams to the Sweet 16 and was a solid student athlete across multiple sports in her own right.
What she was as a person, her competitiveness, humility, and just overall just her caring and being the most accommodable person I've ever been around.
Visitation services of the high school basketball arena will be at 5 Tuesday. The funeral there at noon Wednesday. In Breathitt County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And state police say they do not know yet the cause of the crash that involved the Moores.
Police say that she is no stranger to them. Tonight, a woman is in the hospital after an officer-involved shooting this morning in Georgetown. Police say the woman was sitting in her car with a gun at her home on Meadowcrest Drive. They tell us the woman pointed the gun at officers and they shot at her. WKYT's Sean Moody is tracking the investigation.
I could hear them saying, put the gun down, put the gun down.
Marlon McKay lives a few houses down from where the shooting happened on Meadowcrest Drive. He first noticed the commotion shortly before 7 o'clock Monday morning.
You could just kind of feel it, that something was about to happen, and all of a sudden we hear 4 shots ring out.
Georgetown police said it began with a call from a witness around 6:45.
A woman with a gun in a car threatening suicide.
Georgetown Police Chief Mike Bossie said the woman pointed the gun at officers as they were trying to negotiate with her. He said an officer fired at her but wasn't sure how many times she was shot. She was rushed to a hospital. We're still trying to figure out her condition. Police said they were familiar with this house. The chief said they'd been called out here 13 times in the past 6 months, including just last night.
Officers had been there earlier that evening and had assisted by taking the individual involved to a medical facility for help, and we don't know the outcome of that, but obviously she was released.
Marlon McKay told me that timing could have made a big difference this morning. He said this corner is a bus stop and that a school bus had just picked some children up right before the shooting happened. Otherwise, they would have been just a few houses away.
I mean, it's weird to think that, you know, not really sure, but she could have been in the car, you know, at the same time that these kids are walking up this sidewalk, walking past that very car.
McKay says his own daughter had just gotten on that bus.
That is very scary because, I mean, anything could have happened.
In Georgetown, Sean Moody, WKYT.
The Franklin and Scott County Sheriff's offices are investigating the shooting along with Georgetown Police as part of their backups program. The officer who shot the woman is on paid leave, which is standard for the department in a situation like this one.
We are learning new details tonight about an EKU basketball player arrested over the weekend on a rape charge. According to an arrest citation, a woman told Richmond police that Jalen Harrison had sex with her against her will. Police say the crime happened at his apartment and they interviewed the woman at the Baptist Health Richmond ER. The arrest citation says Harrison admitted to police that the victim never said she wanted to have sex and that he crossed the line. Harrison is scheduled to be in court Wednesday. We are in for a pretty soggy night here in the Bluegrass. We're tracking rain and a lot of it moving in.
And then from the umbrella to those heavy winter coats, you're going to need them all. Gloves, hats, you name it, right, Chris?
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're going to have to bring out the heavy artillery later this week to battle some Arctic cold temperatures blowing into the Bluegrass state. And as Sam and Amber mentioned, you got a lot of rain to go through later tonight, too. Big area of low pressure across the deep south. Look at that slug of juice. This time, the leading edge is aimed more toward Atlanta. What will happen, though, we'll watch additional rounds of rain gearing up from the Volunteer State back into parts of Ole Miss and the Mississippi River toward New Orleans. That will then take aim at the rest of the Bluegrass state later tonight. Between now and then, it is overcast. We've got chilly temperatures into the low 40s. That future radar will continue to show the clouds, and then watch what happens as we get past midnight. Notice how the rain slowly began to pick up the pace, where you see those dark greens, the yellows, even some reds showing up southeastern Kentucky. Be some heavy rainfall during that time, and that's what you're going to be facing for the trip into work and school as we go into your Tuesday morning. And coming up here in about 10 minutes from now, we will talk about rain totals and look ahead toward the Arctic air that is on the way later this week.
A surprise attack from the